Good morning from the beautiful Banff, Alberta.
We're going to breakfast at, I found out it's Toulouse.
Toulouse.
Not
Okay.
Toulouse.
We got in here yesterday and it was kind of the awe factor. We finally got to our mountains. We just did a really quick trip into town. We tried out the bus situation from the Tunnel Mountain Campground into the Banff proper. And we walked the strip, we hit up the Christmas store, went to dinner, and then we took the bus back. Bless you.
No, thank you.
So we went and we had dinner in the strip, or on the strip in Banff.
The
We
boss.
went to the boss. And
we don't meet him right now.
yeah, we don't want to see Boss the Bear, but Boss the restaurant was really good. And then we took the city bus, or the shuttle bus, that runs from the campgrounds to town and back. Now, if you start from the campground, it's free to go into town, but you do have to pay to come back. It's $2 a trip, or you can buy passes at any of the thingers. And then last night was more just about settling, because there was some wild weather, but today is our first day that we just kind of get to experience. And we actually just took the truck into town instead of the bus today, and we got some parking that's right downtown by the train station, and we are about to go do some touristy stuff. We're gonna go to breakfast, then we have to move our trailer because we got a different campground tonight, but within the same campground. And then we're gonna go do the gondola and all sorts of shenanigans. So let's see what we get up to. So the plan for the day was to head up to the Banff gondola and see the views from the top of the mountain. What we quickly remembered though is that Banff in the summer is busy, like really busy. We found out that our ride wasn't going to be for at least a couple hours, so instead of just standing around, we decided we'd go wander some of the trails right around the base of the mountain. And honestly, that ended up being one of the best parts of our day. Everyone was so focused on getting up the gondola, but the trails below were basically empty. Now eventually our time came up, so we headed back to the crowds, stopped into the gift shop for a moment for a quick look around, and then made our way to the top of the gondola. And as much as that wait felt long earlier in the day, the ride up and the views from the top made it completely worth it. Marissa and I have been to Banff a few times before, but standing up there looking out over those mountain ranges never gets old. We spent a bit more time walking around the top of the lookout before heading back down the mountain and taking the bus back to town. After all that, though, we spent the rest of the evening just wandering the strip in town before eventually heading back to the campsite. And honestly, it felt pretty great just to relax for the night and enjoy being somewhere without having to drive anywhere the next day. Good morning from Banff. So amongst all of our adventures, we decided to extend our stay here one extra day. We're just gonna go walk and check out a new site. One thing this trip has taught me is that you can have a million great sounding plans, but you have to be willing to roll with it and adapt on the fly because plans change. But fun fact, if you do have a booking and you're looking to extend your stay within one of the national parks, you can sign yourself up for your notifications on your account. So we were able to actually snag a site that was a couple hundred meters from our other one in an actually a much nicer spot. It's more private. And now we have another full day down in Banff. So let's go check out the strip.
Since we decided to stay one more day in Banff, we figured we'd use the extra time to slow things down a bit and see a few of the spots we hadn't gotten to yet. One of these spots was the White Bark Cafe. This is a place Chris and I found on our honeymoon to Banff a few years back, and it's something we've been looking forward to getting back to ever since. It did not disappoint. Hello. So most of the day was pretty simple. We just spent it walking around town, stopping into some of the shops, and taking in a little bit more of Banff before continuing the trip. After that, I headed back to the campsite for a while to relax. But by the evening, we were getting a little restless again, so we decided to head out for a walk to check out the hoodoos nearby. Between the river, the mountains, and the view from up there, it ended up being a pretty great way to finish off our last day in Banff. And honestly, it felt like the perfect way to wrap up this part of the trip before getting back on the road again.
After Banff, we made our way to Jasper. Even though we were only staying one night, there were still a few stops along the way that we were excited about. We opted to take the Icefields Parkway, which turned out to be one of the most scenic drives I've ever been on. And along the way, we found this secret little roadside pull-off right beside the Athabascan River. So we packed up this morning, we left our campsite in Banff, and we are making our way to Jasper. Tonight we're gonna camp in the Whistler's campground in Jasper, and then tomorrow we're gonna make our way into Grande Cache, Alberta. Jasper itself ended up being a bit of a strange stop for us. Wildfires from years prior had torn through a lot of the area, and you could still see the damages almost everywhere that you looked. So we are in Jasper. Nice setup. However, the only thing is, it's pretty sad since the fires. I mean, you see behind me here, like, everything's just burnt. Everything when we drove in was burnt. Everything around us is burnt. You can see just all burnt. The site we booked didn't have any hookups either, which was actually pretty rare for us this trip. Most of the places we stayed across Canada had full service sites. This one did not. We did wander into town for a bit though, and Jasper ended up being one of the quieter stops of our whole trip. We walked the main strip, grabbed some pizza, but not long after that, a storm started rolling in over the mountains. And it turned out to be a pretty good one. So instead of trying to go anywhere else, we decided we'd settle in for a night inside the trailer. Instead, we got the night we didn't know we needed. A movie playing in the background, a few rounds on the Switch, and a storm rolling through the mountains outside. The next stretch of the trip felt different. We made it into Grande Cache without any issues, got the trailer set up. From the outside, everything was going pretty smoothly. Well, we got registered, we bought some swag, and then we went and did all the last minute shopping around Grande Cache, and I guess now it is just survive until tomorrow morning. Of a sorts, I guess. The registration process was actually really nice. Same with the drop off, the shopping, everything in the venue is actually probably one of the nicer ones that we've been to. We just got checked in, and the town is just bumping with racers. But now we're gonna go back to the camp. All right, so our race gear and nutrition and registration and everything that can possibly get taken care of is done. And now we are just driving to the rec center for the mandatory pre-race meeting tonight. And then we'll be headed back to the camper and straight to bed. So let's go check out this meeting. Yeah, that was a very long pre-race meeting. Very basic, going over the layout of the course, doing all the thanks, acknowledgements, talking about the history of the thing. Kind of cool. but it was late to start and it's now almost 9 o'clock. So we're leaving and it is time for bed. Good morning from everybody.
Oh.
We're up, we're dressed, and we're modestly ready. And we're gonna leave for the start line in 45 minutes. And we're off. Oh, the nerves. And then pretty quickly, we shifted into race mode. And once that happens, you kind of stop thinking about filming. 10 minutes. The race started, and not long after that, the weather turned and never let up for us. We spent the next 12 hours racing through straight rain, deep in some of the most remote terrain we've ever been in. 10K in. At a certain point, the cameras just stopped coming out. It wasn't about capturing the moment anymore. She's over 15 in. Between the two of us, it turned into a pretty big effort. I made it through roughly 70 kilometers and 3 out of the 5 legs of the course, and Marissa pushed through what was basically her near-death marathon, just missing the cutoff by only a few minutes. There is honestly so much to this race that it deserves its own video, so stay tuned for that. After the race, the trip shifted yet again. On the way back, the whole trailer got hit with the flu, so filming took a complete backseat. Not exactly how we pictured the end of the trip, but I guess that's kind of how these things go. It started out as a road trip to the Rockies and ended somewhere between a race, a storm, and the most amazing trip we've ever taken.